Hey, look at that. It's a podcast. We did it. We made it in. Chad read the ad. That's great. Hi. If you don't know me, I'm Sam. I'm a producer here.
Mission
Under me
accomplished.
is Chad. You know Chad. He's the voice of Boomstick. I
Hi.
almost said Beamstick.
You almost said Banestick.
I don't know, man. Yeah, it's tough.
That's a
out
cooler
here.
name.
And
We
then,
should have gone with that.
it sounds a little better. And then over here, we got Liam, one of our wonderful writers and lead researchers.
Hello.
And then also a new person, Adal Rifai. Adal, thank you for joining us. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for having me and allowing me to broadcast from my Fallout bunker.
I love the
It's a nice
dramatic
Fallout
lighting.
bunker.
You look like
Yeah.
the main character on a movie poster about like somebody's dark underside. It's really
I
cool.
feel like I'm representing both cloak and dagger at the same time.
Yeah, very good.
It's just
yeah.
a weird space in my house that I'm trying to like light, but we just moved in, so I haven't had a chance to set it up. And I only do audio podcasts. I'm not used to video, so
Yeah,
Speaking of
we're
which-
forcing you out into the video platform now.
Yeah, but speaking of which, why don't you tell the audience what you do?
oh sure, I'm a podcaster. I do podcast Hello from the Magic Tavern, which is an improvised fantasy podcast about a guy who falls into a portal behind a Burger King, and instead of going on high grand adventures, he sort of sets up shop in a bar, a tavern, and interviews all the freaks and weirdos in the realm. And I also do a podcast called Hey Riddle Riddle, which is me and some friends trying to solve riddles and puzzles and lateral thinking problems. And along the way, we do some improv and poke fun at how terrible riddles are. If you're ever asked a riddle, the answer is probably egg or river.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Insider tip.
Good to know.
Yeah, I accidentally, well, I don't say accidentally, but this happened because I listened to Hey Riddle Riddle occasionally.
Same.
I was looking for a legitimate like riddle podcast one day on Spotify, and it was like,
Same.
hey, how about this one? And like I don't know, 100 episodes later, I was like, these guys don't do a lot of riddles, but it's funny. And you guys made
Were
a joke
you
about
looking-
like Warner Brothers, and like I was like, oh well, I gotta follow up on this, and then yeah, this randomly happened.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, my podcast service was like, were you looking for riddles? How about listen to bad riddles? So that's how they find us. Because we do maybe 2 riddles per episode, and we get a lot of emails that are people are like, really enjoy the podcast, very funny. Wish y'all did more riddles. And
See,
we're
I could
we're
go
100
the
Oh, don't worry.
I could go the other way. I feel like this podcast is like rather the same, whereas like every time we have the proper hosts on, they like keep it on rails, and we do the community death battle, and we do all the segments we're supposed to do. And then most of the time when I host, like traditionally, I just go off the fucking rails and we forget all about it and don't do a lot of stuff. And that's the ones I love. And then the community is always like, stick to the script. And I'm like, but I had a
Talk about the cartoon characters
Yeah.
fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, also be like, hey, yeah, man, really love Death Battle. Been watching for a really long time. It's great, but you were wrong about these like 4. I totally disagree. And also, please do this fight. Thanks. Bye.
Oh yeah, when Sam asked me to be on, I was like, "Oh, this sounds fun. Let me choose something that I would enjoy talking about." And I was thinking like maybe Shrek versus Jesus, or like
Hell yeah.
RoboCop versus Tom Servo,
There you
or
go.
if it's a true community death
incredible.
battle, Danny Pudi versus Donald Glover. But I was like, "Oh, Beetlejuice versus Loki would be fun." And I didn't put much thought into it. I was just like, that's my first instinct. That would be fun. And then I found out through your fans on Twitter that there was a right answer, and it was not what I chose.
Oh, really? Oh, well,
Yeah.
we haven't seen the
And I'm
Twitter
so
poll.
sorry.
We're going to bring that up at the end.
Being from the Midwest, I just have to start with an apology. I'm so sorry for what I picked. I just picked what I thought would be fun and entertaining, and
No.
I'm sorry if this was the wrong answer.
I think people did a lot of knee-jerk reactions because people's like touchstone for Beetlejuice is obviously the wonderful Michael Keaton movie.
Yeah.
With Alec Baldwin. I always forget Alec Baldwin's the guy in there. He's just so young in there. Like, also, side note, I saw
It's a
Michael
baby,
Keaton
yeah.
in something the other day, and I was like, how is this guy not aged? I looked it up on IMDb. He's 70 now, and he still looks
shit.
like the exact same.
And he's still
Crazy.
rocking it.
Anyways.
Like, genuinely one of the
Yeah.
best actors ever.
Yeah, I don't think anybody remembered about the Beetlejuice cartoon, which gets absolutely ridiculous.
Oh,
and
it's
I think
insane.
makes this a
It's
very,
absolutely
very
insane.
legitimate community death battle. Because, like, if you watch the movie, yeah, it's not working with Loki, but the cartoon, 100%. I got good arguments. I think we're fine. I think the community's wrong on this one. But
Good.
Damn.
I also like Shrek
Damn.
Jesus. We did do Jesus Santa once.
Really wanted to
and-
do that.
I
But
think
we did it as a community death battle. I think
Yeah.
Santa won.
if my dreams are correct, what happens is Shrek swallows Jesus, and then they combine to become Shrektious, and then they're sort of a omnipotent, almighty being. So
that does sound.
Somebody should start a religion
or universe, depending on where his domain is. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say Beetlejuice is my favorite movie of all time, and I'm fascinated with the character who's supposedly a demon. And I think in the sequel, Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian eventually turns into like Satan himself. But I don't know much about Loki, but I've been watching the TV show, and I know him from the movies. So I'm a real fucking casual in terms of Loki. But I just realized, I could have done Beetlejuice versus The Mask or something. But The Mask seems more chaotic, and it's more of like a bacchanal, like guttural, what do I want kind of
we've done The Mask.
Entity?
We've done The Mask in Death Battle before, and like he's ridiculous. So yeah, like you picking The Mask would have been The Mask.
Good. But it seemed, the Mask energy just seemed more chaotic, and it seemed like Loki and Beetlejuice shared the sort of same mischievous quality. So that's why I was curious to kind of see what happened here.
More fun, less serial killer.
Yeah. Cool.
Have you done like Gacy versus Dahmer or anything like that?
No.
But we should do a spin-off true crime death battle cast. I feel like that's in the cards, but it also, we typically try and stay away from any real humans, sure. Because there's some. But I mean, with every true crime podcast, I think we should do it these days.
John Wayne versus John Wayne Gacy.
There you go. See, the problem is, we have to analyze all this stuff, and then we debate it. So we'd essentially be like, well, who was the better killer of real people? Might want to.
Yeah, that gets. When there's victims' families still alive, that's not great.
Yeah. John Wayne from the movies, though, def wins. He's done some crazy
composite film.
Yeah, composite John Wayne. Yeah.
Oh, and The Searchers, he's a madman.
Just doing like the shotgun flipping. Yeah, that's enough to win.
Cool. Well, I feel like we might as well start digging into this Beetlejuice Loki. Liam, do you want to go first? I feel like you should go first.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, Loki, Norse god of mischief. Why can't I think of the word? Number one villain to Thor. He is arch nemesis. Thank you. I was like, A. He is not just a kind of a weakling schemer like he is in the movies. In the comics, he is a god who is almost as strong and as powerful as Thor, with basically every single ability under the sun. He can do basically anything, which I think is key here, because he's not only as powerful as your like average like powerful comic book god character, but he also has every ability under the sun, which will allow him to counter and then overpower Beetlejuice, who, despite being a Toon Force character and despite being cartoons being really insanely powerful, is ultimately the same as a comic book character that can warp reality. So yeah, I think he has just enough to squash Beetlejuice. Juice.
I don't know about that.
All right.
You had to. It was there.
I had to. Thank you.
I should mention before I start that people in the chat, you can vote for Beetlejuice in Loki, but definitely hold your vote until after our opening arguments, because I think I might have a little extra juice on this one. I think I might have you.
A little extra. Come on, you can't. A little extra.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. Don't steal it. Don't steal my thunder, Liam. What is this? This is ridiculous. Anyways, Brian, can I get that 60-second timer out here? Okay, cool. So Beetlejuice. Starters, Michael Keaton, better than anyone who's ever played Loki. Just going to start there, right?
I agree with that.
Second of all, better movies. Just the one. It's better than everything else that Marvel's done.
I agree.
So, let's talk from the movie aspect. The main thing I'd like to talk about is he looks at, not Lydia. Who's Lydia's mom in the movie? Doesn't matter. He looks at her, literally teleports her to Saturn. Just bing, points his finger, boom, on Saturn. No reason he can't just teleport Loki to a sun or Saturn or whatever. And Loki, if you know him, doesn't necessarily travel intergalactically very well. He needs spaceships or bridges and all this other stuff to do it. So he's just going to be stuck on the sun or Saturn and die. And then the other thing, Beetlejuice, immortal. And if you know him from the cartoons, he's even wilder because get this one. He doesn't have to teleport Loki to the sun because Beetlejuice has turned into the sun before. So he just turns into the sun. What the fuck is Loki going to do then?
Fascinating.
Yeah,
Absolutely fascinating.
The cartoon is insane. So let's keep this in mind. Cartoon is where Beetlejuice really shines. He's crazy. He's also invincible, like completely so. The only way he will die is if he is dismembered when the sun comes up. That's the only way he dies. So he'd have to be dismembered, but he can become something that's undismemberable. So I don't know. He just becomes a puddle of water, and then you can't dismember him. When the sun comes up, he's still fine. Tell me how you beat that, Liam.
Respond to that, sir. So you said that Beetlejuice could teleport Loki to Saturn. Well, okay, Loki is a Norse god, does not need oxygen to breathe.
Yeah, sure.
He is physically tough enough to fight Thor hand to hand. Thor had his powers removed except for his physical strength. So he fought Thor physically and kept up with him. He's stated to be like almost as strong as Thor, and almost can kind of give you like a wide range. But he fought Eric Masterson Thor, who is 10% Thor strength, and absolutely just effortlessly bitch slapped him. So we know that almost is actually almost. So being on a star would do nothing to him. He would be physically tough enough to withstand that, no problem. He actually
Can't he starve?
Can't he starve? No, he can teleport too. He can actually teleport himself and others to entire different universes across space.
He wants traps to do that.
Nope, he just...
Can he do it from the surface of the sun?
Yes, yeah. Just the same as any other
surface. Would he survive long enough?
Would he survive the surface of the sun?
The dude fought Thor!
I think that's what the Smash Mouth song is about. Loki surviving on the sun.
Exactly.
Oh, shit. TIL. Look,
he might as well be walking because he doesn't need food. He doesn't need to anything. Shelter.
Exactly. Thank you.
I get your argument that Loki can fight Thor and survive, yes, but I don't know if that means he can survive on the surface of the sun.
Why? The surface, you can actually calculate the energy that the sun gives off and how much you would be withstanding if you were standing on the surface of the sun. And Thor is a character whose like hammer swings are and stated to be as powerful as the Big Bang. So like the energy in one of those is a lot more than the energy of just standing in the sun. Standing in the sun is a human would be disintegrated, but this is Loki. He's a god. So, he's physically invulnerable.
I found comic panels where Thor's just he's been not only on the sun, he's been in the center of the sun as well.
Yeah.
Okay. But when Beetlejuice becomes the sun, how does Loki kill him?
So Loki has matter manipulation. He can affect your molecules. He can turn himself and others into anything. He can warp reality.
Extent, Beetlejuice can as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm looking up photos here as well. I'm also looking it up, and I see a picture. It's Saturn eating his son, and then Beetlejuice is eating Saturn. So I think Beetlejuice is still pretty good.
Yes, they can both warp reality. But
also, I don't know if anybody has seen this. Beetlejuice was featured on an episode of Teen Titans Go, and I won't say Teen Titans Go is like they're not incredible superheroes or anything like that. I haven't watched a ton of it. But in 1 second, Beetlejuice kills all 5 of them in 1 second and traps them in the netherworld. So
impressive.
Pretty impressive.
Argue with that, Liam.
What would Beetlejuice do when Loki just mind controls him and tells him, "Hey, dismember yourself"?
Y'all, you're never gonna guess this, but this episode is sponsored by ExpressVPN. See, using the internet without ExpressVPN is like taking a call on a train or a bus on speaker where everybody can hear. So don't do that because it's bad. Just use ExpressVPN. Go get it, okay? Why is it important to have ExpressVPN? Because your internet service provider can see anything you do online. Even if you use an incognito mode, they still know what you're doing, okay? And they can sell that information to ad companies and tech giants who can target you for their own profit. But ExpressVPN creates an encrypted tunnel between you and your digital spies, and nobody needs to get in your tunnel, so keep it encrypted. And yeah, it's like a bouncer at the door, and they keep all the bad people out of your fun data party, and they keep the digital riffraff, where riffraff should be, outside. So ExpressVPN is super easy to use. You just open the app, click connect, and it works on phones, computers, even routers. So yeah, like if you don't know, you can put it on your phone and it works excellently. It's great, super useful, especially if you're ever anywhere where you use public Wi-Fi. I can seriously use ExpressVPN, and it's been rated the #1 VPN by CNET, Wired, and The Verge. So what more do you need to know? Like I said, I've been doing a little traveling now since the world's opening back up, and having a VPN on your phone when you're in airports and stuff gives me a nice little sense of security, and I highly recommend it. So secure your online activity by visiting expressvpn.com/dbc today. That is expressvpn.com/dbc, and you can get an extra 3 months free. That's expressvpn.com/dbc. Go check it out. Go get secure. Keep your tunnel encrypted. Vice versa. What does Loki do when Beetlejuice mind controls him?
Beetlejuice will have Loki fucking dancing over his shrimp cocktail to Harry Belafonte.
Yeah.
Loki be taking off his hat and playing it like a fucking bongo.
Loki can mind control characters like the Hulk, who actually have stated resistances to mind control from characters as powerful as Professor X. So if anybody is going to be making anybody dance around a shrimp cocktail and bang their head like a bongo,
I don't think you have any actual grounds to say that. I don't think, because you have no idea, Beetlejuice, as far as we know, can't be mind controlled because he doesn't even need his mind. He doesn't need a mind. He doesn't need one. Oh my god. So what does it matter? He can not have a brain and still function with himself.
Just because we don't know something doesn't mean it's a thing. That burden of proof is on you to prove that Beetlejuice can't be mind controlled. Because Loki's never been mind controlled, so Loki can't be mind controlled. Bing, bang, boom. Loki's never been beaten by Beetlejuice, so Beetlejuice can't beat Loki. See, that's
well. Here's the thing. I don't think that Beetlejuice can be killed by Loki just because Beetlejuice can't really die. But Loki has never died. Hear me out here.
I've never died, and I can definitely die. He has died. He has died. He can die.
Loki's died. So in an environment where we have infinite time and one can't die and one cannot die, all possibilities are going to eventually happen.
You said that he can die. You said if he dismembers himself.
Technically, if he's dismembered, but he just doesn't need to be dismembered. He just needs to become a puddle, and it won't happen. But
Loki could turn him back into Beetlejuice and then dismember him.
See, I don't think we can use that argument because for that part,
absorb his soul.
If you're going to say Loki can mind control him to kill himself, I can say the same thing back. We have no grounds to talk on that because they both have the exact same powers. So it's pretty much a void there.
Marvel put out an official statement that says that Loki was actually mind controlled by the Mind Stone in Avengers.
Wow, you hate to hear that.
By the Mind Stone, though, which controls all minds in the universe, controls the concept of minds. So that's not the same thing as Beetlejuice.
I know I'm just casual. I know I'm just casual. There's literally a moment in Beetlejuice where Beetlejuice's head spins around 360, maybe, I'd probably guess 85 to 100 times. And all he does is he stops his head and he goes, "Don't you hate when that happens?" Now, in one of the Avengers movies, Thanos twists Loki's neck once, not even a full 360.
Yeah.
Maybe he twists it maybe 35 degrees and Loki dead. So if we're going by the head turn rules,
damn! Oh my god!
I love that argument.
Beetlejuice's head lapped him.
Sam, let's assume for the sake of argument that Beetlejuice and Loki's mind controlling powers are equivalent. They're not. Beetlejuice has never done anything remotely as impressive as Loki, and we do. But let's assume that they are. Let's assume that they are. Who would mind control who first? How fast is Beetlejuice? Give me a speed feat.
Okay, so here's the thing. A speed feat I can give you. I can give you one that I think which is which is easily massively faster than light.
Please, give me.
I don't want to. I know somebody pointed this out in the comments, and there were two things whenever the Beetlejuice thing came up where I was like, I think he can win because of the cartoons. Because I remember watching him for Death Battle Casters or Death Battle Deska Death Battle ages ago. When he turns into a sun, I thought that was a shoo-in.
Yeah.
And then there's another point where he grows to, I don't know the exact size, but he fights the constellation Pisces.
Yes. Okay.
And so he's wrestling with literal stars,
with
and his
other
hands
stars.
are moving between stars within fractions of a second.
Right. Okay.
And that would put him massively faster.
Faster than light. I mean, I don't know which stars are involved in Pisces, but even the nearest star is light years away. So that would be that would be certainly like, I think you could, depending on it, could be like thousands to millions of times the speed of light, easily. Yes. Totally, absolutely. Both Thor and Loki have flown from Earth to Asgard. Asgard is an entirely different universe, and they flew there physically. No portals, no teleportation. They flew there. So Loki and Thor have both crossed a universe in mere moments. Even if you assume that's like
tired. Beetlejuice turned his arms into carnival test your strength. Pumps.
Fly using arms.
They go out the roof. He hits them so hard they go out the roof. They're ejected from the house.
They mind fart their way to wherever they want to go. So
so
again,
flying
as a casual,
across
I
the
feel
universe. Go on.
As a casual, I feel like every time I see Loki pull something out of his cloak or whatever it is, it's always an illusion. Like it's not tangible. But when Beetlejuice does something, it's like conjuring. Like he turns himself into a giant snake. He turns himself into a giant carnival piece. He can possess a small town in New Hampshire all at the same time. So does Loki have the ability to conjure tangible items?
Yes. Okay. What you're talking about is movie Loki, MCU Loki, who's a character that was limited in order to kind of limit the scope of the movies in terms of his powers. He's illusions. So Loki in the comics is a lot more like the actual Norse god of mischief, who can just turn into things. He can turn his body into anything. And he says, as long as it's still me. So as long as like his like soul is part of it, as long as he's controlling
Loki,
the body in anything.
I will give him some credit. Is also in the comics an absolute freak. He becomes a lady horse and then births a horse as a joke, right?
Yeah.
Classic
Nah,
joke.
dude, it was a prank, bro. I did it
to like prank
ironically.
his dad, right? He's such a bad prankster.
All the sig-eps at my college would just turn into a horse, birth themselves. Those guys are assholes.
I like.
Have you not seen those
Reddit
YouTube channels?
thread.
Right? They're popping up everywhere.
I like in this Reddit respect thread the first shape-shifting feat it has in the shape-shifting section is transforms into a normal-looking man.
Great job, Loki. If Loki can fly so fast, why is he always fucking around with like little chariots and shit, and, like not flying?
Because
he's always like got gadgets and he's in like spaceships. Why is he even in that spaceship when when Thanos catches him? What's he even doing if he can just fly?
Why are most
like
characters
spaceships
in the MCU in ships when they don't need it? Like it's
you mean the MCU?
Okay.
I'm talking comics,
in the comics too, Loki's never flying anywhere. He doesn't do it.
He's the same thing with Thor.
He pops off to Asgard,
but Thor is like in like I don't know the fucking Quinjet or whatever, or just chilling. Like they don't always fly to places.
I will say in Sam's defense, Little Chariots sounds like a great sequel to Ben-Hur.
Hell yeah, it does.
It's like the kids. It's
a spin-off. It's like Little Women, but
And imagine
making
like
Little Giants.
And imagine making a sequel to Ben-Hur. Imagine the balls you'd have to have.
The balls you would have to have. Hell no, dude.
Well, didn't they do a remake like not that long ago? Is it like it was in the 2010s, early 2010s, I think, and it like bombed super hard.
Yeah,
it was
like,
let's see if we can spend all this money
masterpiece.
Again.
No matter how old it is, and be like, I can redo this.
A cinematic masterpiece that is really only amazing in its action scenes because of how clearly fucking dangerous it actually was to film that shit. You see people almost die in that movie all the time. Like fools fall off and horse hooves are like plop like right next to them. It is so scary to watch that and know that like actual stunt actors were just like, sure, I'll fall and hope I don't get ran over by 20 horses. Like,
Genuinely
crazy.
scary. Like, it's like scarier than any
Yeah.
horror movie I've ever seen, because it's like that dude almost died. Yeah.
Yeah, but not a Ben-Hur podcast is interesting of a movie it is. I do think
So
maybe...
I got some stuff to bring up for Beetlejuice because that's why
Okay,
I was kind of
let's hear
quiet.
it.
I was looking into the cartoon stuff. So, couple of things. First of all of his body parts can become sentient, and sometimes they will actually rebel against him. But the biggest thing seems to revolve around this power he has in the comics that whatever he says, his magic will take literally. Which can be great because he can pretty much do whatever he wants, but he can also, it can be his downfall.
The monkey's paw thing.
Because, you know, if he says a phrase like I'm like one time he's like, I'm flat broke, he turned into a disc and then like shattered.
This is like Amelia Bedelia rules.
Yeah.
So like 4 villains once got him to say that he was falling apart at the seams, which then he fell to pieces and then they scattered his pieces all around everywhere. So basically, but that's
and
the
he
problem.
still didn't die.
You're literally fighting. Loki's fighting someone who can just say the words, "You're dead now," like "You're dead to me" or whatever, and like he'll just die.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the problem with that is that like taking something, what the magic determines is to take literally can have different meanings, right? Like, I'm going to beat Loki. I have the power to beat Loki. Could mean I have the power to defeat Loki, or it could mean something very, very different.
I mean, it would turn him into a giant beat, right? Like that, yeah. But
or
yeah,
whatever.
if he said Loki dies, suddenly Loki's wearing like a Grateful Dead sweater,
right?
Exactly.
Well, so that's the thing is it's not that kind of like, it doesn't happen all the time. It's not one of those like what is it, the monkey paw wishes, right?
Yeah,
it's not like you think you get what you want, but it always has a bad side that backfires. It's not like that. Like, he can do a bunch of crazy shit. It's just sometimes he can then say something stupid that hinders
so
him.
it just activates randomly, right? Like his magic just, it's almost like his magic.
Like, I mean,
is
he
like
can
a
still choose
douchebag.
to like, you know, like I'm zap people into stuff
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
control all sorts of crazy things. But it's just that's like the one little caveat to his magic is if he for some reason says some dumb phrase, it can backfire on him.
I think maybe we go a little, or possibly, well, no, we should wait. We should follow the correct order of the show, which means we let the audience vote for a while, and we'll get back to the audience answers here in a little bit, and we'll just talk about what's going on right now. So maybe we just follow the show. I'm begrudgingly, I'm trying to do the show the right way right now, rather than just derail everything.
I will say in the movie, Beetlejuice, without even trying, like, I don't think he even means to. He produces like metal thorns from his body.
Yes.
In a defense mechanism, and then he falls down and he's feeling kind of horny, and he turns around and he has created just through his subconscious a strip club full of all sorts of people inside of it. So his subconscious seems to be very, very powerful and acting on its own accord.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, it can create. It doesn't seem to have a limit on its creation at all. Just like anything it dreams up, it makes. Hence him becoming large enough to fight a constellation. See, we're back in it. This is why we just go to the community answers now. Brian, can we just go to the community answers?
Oh,
now
you tried, man. You almost got it.
I tried, man. Let's just go to community answers because we're on the roll. This is how we work out. Because I want to talk about the constellation thing, and I know that was
Juggernaut
the answer
and
from the
Hermione,
community.
by the way, Adal. That's the long-awaited episode we all want to do. Is Hermione Granger versus the Juggernaut?
The one that Nick wanted to do.
Yeah.
One day.
What's the connection? What's the connection?
Mm-hmm.
They're both characters.
No,
and that's all you really need at the end of the day.
For some reason, it's because
you could find
the
some people have red hair.
Because the Juggernaut is weak to magic, but he has a suit to prevent him from being weak to magic.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
so
Nick's thinking that like
punches a fucking hole through.
They both have hard exteriors, but inside they're soft. And they want to be
There you go.
There we go.
There you go. Brains versus bronze.
And he would just clap her into oblivion. Anyway,
I guess first, can we pull up the answer for Loki, Brian, if that's cool? Or whatever one you got queued, really. I'm not.
All right, this one comes from H. Loki's a Marvel herald who is consistently tangled with Thor, which should make him universal and quintillion of times the speed of light. Add in things such as his reality warping, mind control, sealing, and soul manipulation, and he's got this pretty much locked down.
Thank you, H.
What is sealing?
I love a
Yeah.
man that is. Sealing is like, like in like movies where it's like I seal this demon inside this like rock or something. Like you're not allowed to like leave.
Every now and then he has to just start up Desert Rose. He just gets in. He has to seal. Like that's what real sealing is. That's
Well, baby.
yeah, exactly. Just
that
Not
song
anytime he hears the
unironically
beginning, he's gotta
slaps,
finish.
by the way, I fucking
Yeah.
love Kiss.
Oh,
by
I love Kiss by Rose.
Not to keep bringing up this random episode of Teen Titans Go, but in this episode with Beetlejuice, he has this little glass vial, and he opens it, and he captures and seals the spirit of Halloween.
Whoa.
And we all know the spirit of Halloween has thousands of stores across the U.S., so no easy task.
You can find them
truly...
you can find them setting up shop in the corpses of Circuit City. God.
So, I mean, sure, that's an argument. That's pretty much what Liam said. Can we pull up the Beetlejuice one so I can start talking about my big
Alright, this one comes from Galaxy Video Max. Beetlejuice is much stronger than you'd think if you've just seen the film. In the cartoon, BJ can be seen transforming into the moon, planets, and even stars. Hell, one time Beetlejuice even fought living constellations with his bare hands. His reality warping may net him this W.
Oh, and you see that little graduation cap? Just to toss it in there, in case it counts, he is a graduate of Juilliard, and he also graduated from Harvard Business School.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Which
smart.
really has
I mean,
the
that's what
intelligence
makes him the
advantage.
ghost with the most, right? But
I feel from what I've seen, Loki is highly emotional. I'm just going off of what I've seen.
If you bring
And
up his mom.
Beetlejuice is like a sociopath, like he pretends to mimic human behavior, whereas Loki seems to be very emotional, and when his family is involved, it seems like he gets hesitant or trips up.
I definitely feel that the first phase of this fight is Beetlejuice like kind of like Bugs Bunny trolling Loki, but then Loki gets serious and just like nukes him and eats his soul for breakfast.
how do you nuke something that's large enough to fight constellations, though?
When you're
Like,
strong
at
enough
that
to fight
size-
a guy that can swing a hammer hard enough that equals the Big Bang, I think that's how.
Okay, sure.
Is that
but
voice as
that
annoying
doesn't,
as I
that
thought it
doesn't
was?
answer anything.
What do you
That's
mean?
not
That's
a
literally the
legitimate
answer to
answer.
your question.
hey, if his hammer ever hit as hard as the Big Bang, it would start another Big Bang, which hasn't happened. So no.
Not entirely true. Not entirely
Okay,
true.
all right, hit, put on that science cap,
I don't
Liam. Tell me
know-
how Big
I
Bangs
don't know
work
if
right
he's-
now. Let's
that
get into it.
swing also sent shock. It's true. It's not the same as creating another Big Bang, but it did send shockwaves throughout all the infinite realms of Yggdrasil, which itself is composed
That's
of
a
at
tree,
least
Liam.
9
That's a tree.
It's a tree that
So
that is
he shook a
comprised
tree.
of. It's a tree that is comprised
shook a
of
tree.
at
He's a tree
least
shaker. I don't
9
know.
universes, potentially infinite. Yes, Asgard,
Okay.
Midgard are all separate universes. This is hard confirmed at this point.
Hey, you know what? People like money. And who doesn't love instant gratification as well, especially when it comes to that juicy money? So, Credit Karma Money is a brand new checking account where you can win cash reimbursement for making purchases with your debit card. So, with your Credit Karma Money debit card, you can win daily instant karma purchase reimbursements on items up to $5,000, which is a crazy number. You could buy like a used car and then just win all the money back, right? So, just pay with your debit card, and if you win, you'll be notified on the spot, and your instant karma cash will be added back to your spend account. And when you make a purchase between July 1st and July 23rd, you'll be automatically entered to win $1 million. So that's pretty heckin' cool as well, right? So right now, visit creditkarma.com/winmoney to open your free account and start winning instant karma. Go to creditkarma.com/winmoney to sign up for free and start winning instant karma. That's creditkarma.com/winmoney. Instant karma is sponsored by Credit Karma. No purchase necessary. Exclusions and terms apply. See rules. Banking service provided by MVB Banks, Incorporated, member FDIC. Maximum balance and transfer limits apply. Yeah, go do it because, I mean, who doesn't want to win some money? That's pretty awesome.
Nerd
Okay,
cap
so-
on. So yeah,
But, once again,
bing bang boom.
Realistically, though,
dunk,
with
3 points.
when you have something as big as Beetlejuice, who's literally at that point, I don't know, thousands of times the size of the Earth. He's
Yes.
bigger than suns, right?
Yes, I would say that's
He's
even like a
wrestling
low
stars.
ball. Yeah.
Who's also got Toon Force, who is a literal cartoon, right? And has, even when he's not a cartoon, even when he's a live action character, he still has this Toon Force stuff that everybody talks about. If he gets hit by a blow big enough to shake the world, or to shake 9 universes, or a tree, or whatever you're talking about, he's just gonna do a funny gag and be like, "Oh, that tickles," and go on with his day.
Well, his body will explode first. Like, he might, like, if he can survive being turned into, if he can survive his body being reduced to like nothing and just exist as a spirit, which, by the way, Loki can. He can survive having his body turned into nothing and then surviving as a non-corporeal spirit.
I mean, Beetlejuice literally turns into bombs, explodes, and then just reanimates right there.
Except he can die.
Doesn't matter.
If he is, and he has no stated defense against his soul, his very essence being absorbed. I think that's also a big thing, which Loki can do.
I think there is a decent argument to say that he doesn't have a soul, based on some of the things the comic and the movie alludes to.
Well, like what?
So the original movie, they cut the scene, but it's still part of it, and it kind of plays into parts of like his lore and in the cartoon as well. The reason he's an undead civil servant is because he killed himself, and the people that killed themselves, their souls don't go to heaven or hell, so they're trapped in the middle, which also, they kind of allude to the fact that he is soulless, so I don't know if soul manipulation would work on him.
Well, but you just said, like, the whole basis of his being is that his soul can't go to heaven or hell, which means that he has a soul, right? Well, like, if his soul is trapped
I think the
in
actual
between,
verbiage is that his soul is lost. And so,
well, it could be lost.
Hard
as
to
in,
read
like,
that one.
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't think
it's
that
very foggy, but I also don't know if I'm not going to give you the like clutch victory on a maybe, right? Like,
yeah. I think that like, unless there's hard evidence that a dude that like, because like, look, in fiction, like, if you're like a robot or something, you don't have a soul, right? Which I'm sure many robots would take offense at, but like. Yeah, you can assume that. But if it's like a person that's like it's an undead being that used to be a human, like, and there's nothing saying like they don't have a soul. They're like a husk that's just sort of animate. I think that the Occam's razor, if I was to push up my non-existent glasses, would favor him having a soul.
Fucking Occam's razors. Yeah, okay, I mean, I feel like we've talked this one to death. We can just let the audience vote for another 10 minutes like we typically do. We always go into it at 12:45, so let's let them vote. They should vote for Beetlejuice. My feeling here is if we even remotely, if I pulled ahead of where the Twitter poll ends, because the Twitter poll is going to be Loki. We all know this. Yeah. He's got a TV show. He's popular. The kids think he's hot with the HAWT. Like, he's gonna win Twitter, right? So if I can bridge that gap at all to get anywhere close to 50-50, that's my victory. That's all I'm hoping for. So vote for Beetlejuice.
Loki wins Twitter.
I think he would win. Loki does win Twitter. Let's be honest.
And this is like the second time this has happened too. People act like this is the first time.
Also, vote down there to see if I, on my worst day, could kick the shit out of Chris Angel.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In magic
like
or
skin and bones.
Physical fight.
Yeah,
either way I'd
fight?
lose. Either way I'd lose.
So if you guys are watching on mobile, you can use #1 to vote for Loki or #2 to vote for Beetlejuice.
That reminds me, sorry, the Chris Angel thing. Did y'all hear he opened up a restaurant?
No.
Yeah, God, it has some...
During the pandemic?
he has a Mind Freak restaurant or something like that. I remember reading about this. Yeah.
Do they like make you like really guess the right card to get your fucking dinner?
The menu disappears and reappears. Is it like Mind Steaks or something? Is it some terrible play on?
No, you would think.
Chris Angel.
Do y'all just want me to tell you the name, or do you want to have some guesses here?
Does it have to do with prestidigitation or magic of any kind?
That's the big hint.
No, I'm afraid
No,
it
it's just
doesn't.
like-
and it
it's
really
just
should.
like-
Oh, is it called like
Fabricio's
Angel's Wings
or something
like that?
completely unrelated.
Angel's Wings, I dare say, would have been way better.
Oh
What
Lord.
is it? Oh God.
I want to say, pick a carb, any carb.
See, that's incredible.
Pick a carb is amazing.
That really should be the winner. But no,
Yeah.
it is Cablp, CABLP.
CABLP.
I'm
Which
trying.
Cablp.
That's what the sign is, and it stands for
Chris
it is
Angel.
short for Chris Angel's breakfast, lunch, and pizza. You think he would go dinner?
Oh
So this-
no, that's even
This man
better.
thinks there's 3 meals, and one of them is always pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza in
Yeah,
the morning,
I guess.
pizza in the evening, pizza at
It's
supper
supper
time. When Chris Angel's in the kitchen, you can eat pizza anytime. That's terrible.
Fuck
Yep.
That's
yeah,
not even a
dude.
real word. Make
Oh my God.
Kebab.
boy.
Like, or whatever.
Oh, okay. Here's the
Whoa.
restaurant is called capital pronounced Kablip. The article does say
Kablip.
Kablip is how
Okay,
it's
well
pronounced.
now I'm on board.
Kablip.
Okay, it's located in Overton,
CABLP,
Nevada.
Kablip.
It's in
Chris
Nevada.
Angel's breakfast, lunch, and pizza.
And was discovered by Angel while he was out dirt biking there with his family. Which sounds like the setup to a horror movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
Like,
Jesus.
and it was,
Yeah,
it
there's
was
some-
discovered. Like,
Yeah,
did he
yeah,
find
yeah.
the restaurants that already existed and then
Well,
put
he
his
was
name
out,
on it?
like in a fucking cave somewhere.
And
and
some
there's
old
like-
man was like, "This restaurant burned down 10 years ago."
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't go there.
Yeah, I mean, but anyways, Kablip. Chris Angel's weird. Who does that?
I
I
don't.
think he's an angel. I think he's wonderful.
Yeah.
I was
so,
just out dirt biking in the dunes like I do, and then I saw this restaurant and I knew I had to put my
And I
name
found
on
a
it.
book that seemed to be bound in human
Yeah.
skin, and it told me to create a.
And so that's the
pizza
menu.
that was his monkey's paw. Was like, I want a restaurant, and then it's like, yeah, but it's gonna have the worst name. It's Kablip. It's Kablip. Like,
And it's located in Overton, Nevada.
Breakfast, lunch,
A
and
lot of-
pizza. I can't. It's
A lot of traffic there.
breakfast, lunch, and pizza. So, Adal, you're a big improv guy. That's your background, right? Is like you came
Oh,
from
yeah.
the improv scene and everything. I always thought because Chad and I actually for a while work had us take improv classes. They let Chad continue and they told me to stop, which says something about everything
Was this
about
like
me, I guess.
Cold Town or?
yeah, we did cold
Yeah,
time.
it was Cold
Okay.
Town. Yeah. So, yeah, we did improv classes there. It was really cool, and I always got like a respect for it, and like always liked it, but didn't necessarily understand anything of the craft behind it until we did that, and it was really cool, just like to learn the yes and stuff. And I do think like as a person who does like podcasting stuff for the company, it made a lot of sense to do it, and we should
Oh, yeah.
do more
Yeah.
of that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
learning to yes and is very
Um,
important.
But I do remember whenever that like we were taking those classes, I can't remember the guy's name who was our teacher, but like they were telling us like, you know, you can like apply a lot of this essay and stuff to everyday stuff, like when you're working on projects or you're doing anything, like it's like more of like parts of it are like kind of like a strategy guide of how to be funny and how to like be communicatively playful, I guess. And I was thinking at the time, like, we should try and do our community death battles improv style on Death Battle Cast. And we never followed through with it because none of us are funny. But I really wanted to get your insight onto like how do you think that would work, or is it just like there's just no go there?
Yeah, I think improv has a lot of applications to a lot of stuff. And I do recognize that I'm an improviser and a podcaster, which are like the two biggest targets for hate and jokes, which is fine. They both deserve them. So you're saying, and we do a lot of work with corporations. We do a lot of workshops. And most people are way into it in terms of like the skills that you flex and you learn can be applied to the work environment and to delegation and management and everything. Except for I did a workshop with Boeing, and I would be like, let's do this exercise, and it's improv, so you just say whatever, and they would stop and be like, well, what's the right thing I'm supposed to say? And I'm like, oh, no, there's no right answer, it's
Yeah,
just
you just
whatever
say.
you want. And they're like, their math brains were just like, tell me what to say and I'll say it. And I'm like, no. Just whatever you feel like saying. And they're like, I don't feel like saying anything. And I'm like, well, then I guess we're done. So they found a way to break improv. But you're saying to improvise this show, I think it could be done, but it's just going to, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
What
like,
is the improv version of this show?
Well, yeah. Well, no, it's for the community death battle specifically. It's like, all right, so you be Loki, I be Beetlejuice, and we have to do through the scenario. I think would be a
that makes more
D&D
sense
type
aspect
thing.
of how.
Where the
Yeah,
hell
not
is
the
Sam
whole
going
show.
with
No,
this?
that doesn't make sense. But just the community death battle, because you kind of have to give grounds to a scenario that they're in to even be in this spot in a position at first. So it's just you know.
I think
I don't know where they meet, but you give it the scene and it does its thing.
I think it would be a goddamn blast, but I think it'd be a little messy in terms of the whole point, or what you're taught in improv is to make your partner look brilliant. So the whole goal is I'm going to sacrifice myself to make my partner look like a genius.
Yeah.
And celebrate and elevate anything they say, and trust that they'll do the same for me. So that kind of weakens the idea of I'm going to beat you in a battle. But if you did it in terms of Beetlejuice and Loki or whoever are at a diner and they don't have their powers or something, and it starts as a 3-minute just casual conversation, catching up.
My dinner with Andre kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. And then after 3 minutes of celebrating the other person and establishing empathy and all this, then you can start to be well, if we ever were to fight, that I have this ability. Yeah. So I think it could work. But it would be a little tricky in terms of I feel there would have to be some sort of
neutral ground leading up to it, right?
Yeah. Because otherwise it's just going to be fuck you, I hate you, right?
Yeah. That is good insight. Yeah, I always wondered how it would work, but we never tried it because we're
It also might devolve into I could turn into a constellation-sized hell beast. Well, I could punch hard enough to shatter the universe.
I mean, that's what it would eventually ended.
Yeah, and then they kiss and make out.
Always. Yeah. That's the secret to improv. Always kiss at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know what it is. It's so weird because I've done a couple of improv shows with Cold Town, and I don't know what it is about it, but like most of the comedy I do is improvisational comedy, on podcasts or panels, or a bunch of lines in Death Battle are just improv when we're in the booth. There is something about an improv show that I hate it. I hate it so much. Right before, and then after, it's oh god, it was okay. I think it was fine.
Oh, you're talking about the nerves of it,
dude.
Yeah,
the thing is, I can get a panel room in front of thousands of people and make them all laugh and have a great time, and I love it. That's one of my favorite things to do, is to be in a panel room. But it's something about before the improv show,
RTX panels and stuff. Never. I never get nerves.
No, not at all.
Doing improv in front of 2 people in a private room at the office, I am full just fighting panic attacks. I'm I can't do this. It's so crazy. Why would I act like a gardener? It's just it's so nerve wracking.
For the most part, I believe, at least when I was used to be fearful. I'm still a little bit fearful, but I think it always stems from you think the other person's going to fuck you over. In a panel, you wait your turn and then you chime in, and no one can take that away from you. No one can undermine your reality and what you have to offer. But I think with improv, and I've had this happen a lot, the other person can fuck you over and break your reality. So I've done scenes where I initiate the scene, I say the first line, and I say something like, hey Doug, hey son, I'm gonna let you borrow the car for prom tonight. And then the person will be like, you're not my dad. And they just broke the reality, right? And so the goal, if I'm trying to make them look good, is I'll do something like, hey, I know I'm just dating your mom, but one day I hope you'll call me dad. Or I've had times where I'll initiate a scene and just be like, breathe in that mountain air. What a beautiful view, Mount Everest. And they'll be like, we're indoors, dude. And I'll be like, yes, no, I was just remembering yesterday when we were at the summit, right? I still feel a little lightheaded from the lack of oxygen.
And
so
being
it's just that idea
on stage by my
you fucking coward.
Yeah.
But I feel like that whole idea of you're most protected when you're willing to sacrifice. If I say the sky is blue and my partner says red, I will let blue go and just be like, yes, you're right, it was red. I was wearing these blue blockers, and let me take them off, and yes, now I see they are red. So I think that helps eliminate a lot of fear, because you're just like, I can make anything true and I don't have to just be fucked over by someone if they don't know what they're doing. So I think that's ideally the goal, but sometimes there's no way out of it. So I totally understand that.
I imagine it helps a lot when
That
you've
makes a
done
lot of sense.
a lot of shows. You have like a good like mind of people, right? And you've done a bunch of shows with your team, right, or crew, and like,
oh yeah, the more you develop a rapport and the more you trust people, like the people I do podcasts with, like those are people I've performed with for years and years and years and years, and so we can kind of break improv rules and we can really fuck with each other, but we always trust that we'll make it through. Yeah, but it's really hard when you're playing with people you don't know terribly well. That's exceptionally challenging.
Yeah, I just can't get out of my head, dude.
Sense.
I'm just sitting there
Yeah,
because
like,
that's my thing. Is like I want to be a good partner, right? It's like sure, I would love to like make the audience laugh, but more than anything, it's like I want to be a good partner for the person that are here. And man, there are so many times where I've done some scenes, like especially in like warm ups and stuff, where like when we're like breaking it down, like I was like sacrificing to what I thought was teeing up a great scenario for my partner, but then they were like, I didn't know where to go with that, and I'm like, well, shit, that was the whole point. That was for you. Like,
yeah,
what I'd say is come from a place of curiosity. If you treat something as if it's if you treat something like it's important and meaningful, it becomes important and meaningful. Mm-hmm. So I've had scenes with people who are brand new to improv, and they'll be like, crazy weather we're having, right, Jeff? And I'm like, the normal improv brain would be like, this is nothing. Small talk should not initiate a scene. What's the scene about? What the fuck are you doing, you idiot? Yeah. But then if you just calm down, you can be like, yes, crazy weather we are having. The hail will fall on Montana at midnight. And then like I'm handing them a briefcase or something. So then you turn it into something important and meaningful. Just by, if you just stop and give it importance, it becomes a cool game or a cool detail or something. Versus being like, yeah, crazy weather. What the fuck do you want? Like, now we're immediately fighting. But I remember auditioning for a major theater years and years and years ago when I first moved here, and I started a scene. We were in the audition. You get like 30 seconds to do a 2-person scene, and I came out to initiate. And as I was talking, the other person screamed, "I'm a NASCAR driver, and I'm also a werewolf, and there's a full moon." and I just stood for a minute and took it all in, and I go, well, you better come inside. and then I got cast out of that audition because they're like, you showed that you could be calm under duress when that guy screamed 10 facts at you. So I think it's all about just it's about playing Rumpelstiltskin. Like you just take straw, you turn it into gold, and you support the other person regardless of what they say, and you trust that after a while they'll be like, oh shit, I'm constantly being supported. Let me reciprocate.
There you go.
Ideally.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We never got, Chad and I, we were doing it at the same time, but we never got to do it during the same class. And like, I never really thought about how that dynamic would change it a lot, but I could see just like doing it with Chad, because Chad and I have known each other since we were like 13 or something like that.
So, damn, very cool.
Like 2 decades now. I feel like it would be so much easier just because
that's
we know where
really
our bits
true.
are going to go. And even if we're antagonistic, it's like that's our normal vibe. So it's just like we can roll with it easy. So it would be simpler, yeah.
Sam and I are always the greatest of rivals, but if we team up, then we are like the best team ever.
That's powerful. Yep. That's awesome.
Well, I'm glad you let us trick you into giving us free improv advice in a lesson.
The plan
that
worked.
was really nice.
Nailed it.
Yeah, it was good. But we should check out where these community polls are, see what they've done, and get our votes in on this community death battle.
If I'm just like, no, actually, the poll says that Loki wins, but
we can't improv. We cannot
to
improv
yes
our
that.
empirical data right now.
Right, and you started with no, so you're already breaking the first rule of improv.
Did you not listen, Liam? What's going on? Aren't you supposed to be an actor person?
Right?
Doesn't that play into it?
Yeah, actually. Yeah. And I was giving an example of something you're not supposed to do. So you've clearly integrated this lesson. And it's okay. All right, we're going to go.
All right, look at that. Loki won the Twitter poll. We're all shocked and surprised.
71-28. Now, here's where my gap goes. Like, I want to see how much I change this when we look at the current live poll. So 71-29. Let's give them round up.
You might as well replace that with like Paul Bunyan and a dead horse. Like,
well, wait, aren't we supposed to do Chad and Adal?
Oh yeah, we can do our in-house votes. So yes, y'all.
Okay.
You guys have to vote. Who?
Chad, why don't you give us your vote first?
Sure.
Who you like more?
As much as normally I'd be like, I mean, Marvel comic history. Loki's been around forever. There's probably some insane bullshit. I think Beetlejuice has it in the bag because of the insanity of the cartoons and his Toon Force. So I'm voting Beetlejuice.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
Don't
I
I
would
regret it
say
now.
if I'm a lot of good points were made about Loki. Don't get me wrong, but if we are following Occam's razor, I want Beetlejuice to win, and the simplest answer is usually the right answer, Occam's razor. But also Murphy's Law, which suggests that if something can go wrong, it will. So you thought you were going to get my vote, but it went wrong, and I'm going to give it to Sam because he also listens to my podcast. And
I listen
ultimately,
to your podcast too. What the?
That's actually
you didn't say that. You didn't say
yes,
that.
I did.
You didn't say that. And my
You
vote
did say
always.
it.
My vote is always attached to validation, and I feel validated
Jesus
when people
Christ.
listen to what I put out into the world. So, Sam, Beetlejuice gets my vote, but some wonderful cases were made for Loki,
Adal,
Yeah,
and it's
great.
made me want to read the comics. It's made me want to read the.
You twisted the
Loki
knife
comics.
because when Sam brought up that you were going to be on the podcast and how it came about, Liam got really excited and specifically asked to be on this episode because he does listen. I think you listen
Are
to
you-
Riddle, right?
Yeah. Why are you
Yeah.
outing me? Where are
You listen
why-
to my show? This motherfucker
Yeah.
came on during soundcheck and acted like I was just like a crash test dummy sitting here.
What am
Didn't
I
say hi to
supposed
me.
to do? What am I supposed
He
to
said-
do?
Just trying to
He
be
said-
cool.
He said, "Who's this fucking dude with the beard? Like this guy looks like shit. This guy
Look
looks
at
like
his
a
lighting.
this guy looks
Like,
like
what
a
a rude dude.
sentient buffet. Like fuck this dude." So
Everyone loves sentient buffets. Come on.
I'm just
it was a
joking. Liam could
compliment.
not have been nicer. Just joking. Just
Yeah.
joking.
No, he wasn't. I
Yeah,
said
well,
that.
I'm glad you voted
Just defending
Beetlejuice. Now I can guilt-free continue to support your podcast because it is pretty funny and I do enjoy the
Oh, thank you.
occasional
it is
riddle.
hilarious.
But I
Thank you
guess
so much.
now that we're 2-1, let's see where this community, the
Jesus
live
Christ,
poll is
community's
going.
gonna Fuck me so hard
All
right now.
right, it ended here, guys. Liam. Oh!
Okay,
Respectable.
so
It hasn't
Closer-
showed
closer
up
than
yet.
I thought.
Okay,
I
cool.
swung
Good.
it
It didn't. fuck me.
10%. So 10% towards my direction. So it's better. I did make a dent in that initial thought. The hive mind of the community. I swayed it 10%.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to all the juice heads out there. You know who you are.
The Beetle Bros.
Yeah.
And I will say, Liam, you made a wonderful point, which I love you for, which is Michael Keaton is, I would say, one of the best actors of our generation.
I agree.
And when I was a kid, I saw Beetlejuice and Batman in the same week, and my mom
What a
was like,
fucking-
"Oh, it's the same guy."
Yep.
And I was like, almost
Yeah.
I was probably 8 or something. I was almost in
Yeah.
tears, and I'm like, "Not the same man, not the same." And she's like, "No, that's the same guy." I'm like,
Yeah.
My mom's crazy."
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then
On top
as an
of the
adult,
world.
I'm like, "Wow, he's just that versatile." If they
Yeah.
ever make a remake, ideally Michael Keaton, but if it takes too long,
Oh yeah.
I would maybe throw
Well-
Sam Rockwell's hat.
Oh
in the
yeah.
ring.
Oh yeah. I think Sam Rockwell is a perfect Beetlejuice casting choice. Damn, it's actually.
I feel like maybe
Michael-
him or Kate McKinnon would be the only people who might do it justice.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Kate McKinnon would be.
all right, so we're
Mike-
tied.
Yeah, so just for Keaton though, is actually currently reprising the role as Batman. He's filming as
Oh, yeah.
Batman, Bruce Wayne in the Flash for 2021.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
sick.
that's right.
So
It's
Wow.
be old
he's,
Batman, right?
he's I don't know what his role is supposed to be, but he's
Well, if they
listed
brought
on the
back Michelle
credits
Pfeiffer
as
as
Batman
Catwoman,
Bruce
I would
Wayne for
die.
the Flash. Yeah, I assume he'll be old Bruce, like in a kind of Batman Beyond-y sense.
That's what
but
everybody
yeah.
wants,
I mean,
man. Dude, I would.
he's
Oh,
literally-
I
yeah.
would love that.
He's
if they did a
he's
Batman Beyond.
70. If they try and make a 70-year-old man like young on beaten ass Batman, that's a little buck wild. But like he doesn't look it, so he might have like I don't know.
I mean,
He
I
might
will
have
say
some weird rich people drugs that keep him young.
I will say 4 years ago, he was believable as Vulture, who was kicking the shit out of Spider-Man at points.
I mean, that's a good
Like,
point.
Oh yeah.
I was
Most
like, I
ironic
believe him as
casting
like
ever.
as like a
Like-
Pennsylvania steel town worker.
It's not like a Liam Neeson in Taken where you just watch him run and you feel bad.
Yeah.
God, man.
Everyone
this
should
The
watch
later
Birdman.
Takens,
It's
the
the best
later
movies of all
Takens.
time. Just saying.
Mhm.
Yeah. Which is
This
why I
guy's
felt
got
it so ironic
such
that he
good
was
work.
cast as the Vulture. It's like some
Yeah.
exec somewhere had no sense of humor. And it was like, well, he played that bird
The
guy.
bird guy.
Superhero, right?
I forgot
Um,
he was the like quest giver lead guy in Call of Duty Black Ops 2. I forgot that. And this guy's been in everything.
one of the best.
Yep.
And he was
Yeah.
a stand-up comic.
All right, so
Really?
we do have a tie, which means we have to go to our voice in the sky, aka our technical
Brian,
director,
always
wonderful
fucking
Brian
vote
Baker.
against
Hopefully he'll unmute Discord this
Always
time.
votes against me.
Here it goes. Brian, you're the final say.
I'm being called in
Beetlejuice.
just like Beetlejuice.
Uh-huh.
I feel it. Let's go.
Brian, there. Now he's here.
All right. What's up? It's I'm gonna go
You have
Beetlejuice.
to
Beetlejuice.
vote.
winning.
You have to pick.
Beetlejuice.
Or Loki.
Beetlejuice.
Oh,
There you
there
go.
it is.
So I win.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, fuck you, Liam.
Once
I
again,
beat you.
Brian is stolen victory.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, I love to leave on a victory, so that's it. That's our show. You know us, Adal. Do you want to do any plugs here?
Yeah,
You got
plug
anything you want to talk about?
Like I said before, just check out Hello from the Magic Tavern and Hey Riddle Riddle, 2 podcasts wherever you get your podcasts, and support improv, live improv. Hey,
Yes.
here's the thing: a lot of improv is bad. Nobody's denying that, but you wouldn't go see a concert and see a bad band and be like, "Wow, music is terrible." You'd be like, "That band's terrible." So if you see a bad show in improv, you give it another chance.
Oh yeah, because man, if you get a good show, it's so much fun.
Improv is like, I feel like many things. The lower the floor is, the higher the ceiling is, and it's like, yes, it can be bad, but it can also be so exceptionally good. Like, some of the funniest shit I've ever seen or heard in my life is absolutely from that improv standpoint. And even if you know nothing about improv, you have no idea how much improv you're consuming regularly. If you listen to any podcast, like the bases of it are just all there. Like even stuff like My Brother and Me, that's a big popular one. Like those guys are improv playing the whole time, even if they're not doing like the traditional scene and stuff. Like,
Or D&D shows.
that's where it all comes from.
Those are like all improv.
Every D&D show we've made is like,
Ooh.
it bases in that.
I'll recommend the best podcast I can think of that will make you want to do improv or at least watch improv is it's called The Teacher's Lounge. The Teacher's Lounge, check it out. It's by a group called Big Grande. The Teacher's Lounge is my gift to you. Listen to that and you will be like, this is the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life. I want to sign up for classes or I want to go watch shows.
Oh yeah, cool. Well, thanks a ton for joining us. This has been awesome. It's so nice for you
Thank
to
you
join
guys.
us. I loved the free improv lesson. It was great. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching. Catch us next week. Have a good day.
RTX.
Bye.
RTX is
Yeah,
coming up.
RTX. Chad, you need the RTX plug?
Yeah, RTXevent.com.
RTX.com.
Check it out. It's starting, next week?
Now?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
real
live
soon.
events start happening next week. All right. Adios. Bye.
Bye.
Guys, come visit me in Chicago.